MicroStrategy is up 760% year to date. Do you see Saylor continuing this momentum and driving MicroStrategy to be the biggest company of all time?
Yeah, it's a very easy question for me to answer, and I think it's a very simple yes. I think the reason for that is because of the depth of the capital markets and the design and structure of the equity market, the debt market, and valuation of equities just in general. Really, if you look at MicroStrategy's balance sheet, they're incredibly strong, right? They've got 461,000 Bitcoin on balance sheet, which represents, as of today, about $49 billion of assets relative to $7.5 billion of debt. So their leverage ratio is about 15%. So very, very strong, very healthy, with the ability to leverage up the balance sheet and utilize the $21 billion of the $42 billion capital plan on convertible debt moving forward into 2025, 2026. So I'm incredibly bullish for the future and their ability to continue running this strategy and continuing to be the most profitable equity in the entire market for the foreseeable future, 25 and 26. There's significant headroom, and the balance sheet can support it.
Wow. I think some of us have been waiting for some of these upcoming FASB accounting changes to come into place for a long time. Maybe not a lot of people, though. Maybe a lot of people don't understand what's coming. How does the change in FASB fair value accounting rules help MicroStrategy, and how will it impact other companies that adopt a Bitcoin strategy?
FASB fair value accounting, I think this is a very important topic that a lot of the market doesn't quite understand. And many people, I think, are underplaying the potential impact this has for not only MicroStrategy, but the future adoption of Bitcoin on balance sheet for all future corporations that may look at adopting Bitcoin. And what's going on here is, historically, Bitcoin, the way it's accounted for on balance sheet is it's treated as an intangible, long-lived asset. So it's treated as the same type of asset as like a patent. And that rule, that dated ruling that's been in place, forever, that MicroStrategy has been utilizing for the last 4 years since they've adopted their Bitcoin treasury strategy, that requires all of the Bitcoin on balance sheet to be marked down to the lowest price during the quarter. So what that does and what that means is, historically, if you look back at MicroStrategy earnings, a lot of their earnings have been mostly negative. So anybody, when they first look at this stock, one of the first things they'll look at is, how profitable is this company? And you go look at their historical earnings over the last 5 years, and they're all negative. And that just instantly sounds the alarm bells for most traditional financial analysts, without digging another step further and asking, hey, why is this negative if the value of Bitcoin's been increasing? So here's why this is a big deal. So FASB fair value accounting, which will be adopted in Q1 2025, this is the last time in which MicroStrategy has to adopt FASB fair value accounting. So it'll be Q1 2025. So I think we'll see this adoption in May at the release of the Q1 earnings. What this does is it brings the value of Bitcoin marked to market. So any gain that is experienced, gain or loss that is experienced during the period, during the quarter, will be reflected in net income and earnings per share for the company at the end of the reporting period, as opposed to being marked at the lowest value during the reporting period. So I think MicroStrategy, as of right now, for Q1 2025, and we're sitting at January 21st, the estimated earnings per share based on this new FASB fair value adoption, the estimated earnings per share is $21.48. So the gain that MicroStrategy has accrued as of today for Q1 is roughly $6 billion. So it's a significant gain, right? If you compare this to any other equity in the market, this is a significant quarterly gain that many corporations are not going to be able to beat. And why I think this is important, there's a few reasons. One, because this will effectively, it won't erase all historical earnings. All historical gain of Bitcoin added to balance sheet will be added to retained earnings at the beginning of the period for 2025. And moving forward, any future quarter, any gain or loss on balance sheet will impact the earnings per share for that quarter. Why is this important? One of the largest reasons this is important is because the S&P 500, which represents three of the five largest index ETFs in the world, requires 4 quarters summed together of positive earnings in order to be able to be added to the index. So once there's positive earnings over the last 4 quarters, MicroStrategy will then be qualified to be added to the S&P 500. As of today, around $100 billion market cap, this would be the second largest equity to ever be added to the S&P 500, right behind Tesla. So that would result in a significant amount of dollar cash flows that are continuing to buy MicroStrategy moving forward into perpetuity. This is going to be a very contentious event. I think there will be a lot of eyes on it. It will be one of the biggest topics of 2025. Look forward to seeing how this kind of all plays out. Part 2, the other reason FASB fair value accounting is very important is because of earnings per share. 75% of the stock market is algorithmic trading, right? So this begs the question of, does the entirety of the algorithmic trading market have this calculation baked in already, or may this be a potential miss? So I think there are some questions on whether or not this complete reversal of earnings per share, going from incredibly negative to incredibly positive in a very short time horizon, that might cause a significant reevaluation from algorithms that are maybe pricing stocks based on earnings per share, et cetera, et cetera. The last reason, the last and most important topic of FASB fair value accounting is this really is the gun going off at the starting block for corporate adoption, right? This is showing that MicroStrategy is showing the market that the water's warm, everything's great. If you adopt this asset on your balance sheet, it can flow through positively to net income. Additionally, MicroStrategy is the only corporation in the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100, that has a Bitcoin treasury strategy. They're the only company where you're able to understand the change in net income and change in earnings 24/7, 365. So this should smooth earnings volatility in the rest of the market. If for companies that adopt a Bitcoin treasury strategy, there's a lot less uncertainty on, pop and changes in value of earnings based on, quarterly earnings releases.
I had tried so hard not to jump in and interrupt there. And Paul, I'll let you ask the question so someone else can get one in on Punter Jeff.
Jeff, I mean, I am just like, that makes so much sense to me from a guy who spent some time in TradFi. This is going to be a massive amount of passive flows that come into MicroStrategy. Are you bullish enough?
That's a great question. Yeah, yes, I'm bullish. I'm very, very bullish for the future here. I'm very, very, very bullish. I think the other thing that's most exciting for me is there are so many companies that have ignored MicroStrategy because of the negative earnings, right? So there's going to be downstream impacts here that are impossible to quantify. Just people, are now going to take them seriously. Right? People are now going to start to quantify, can any company potentially catch MicroStrategy's 461,000 Bitcoin? Yeah, I think there's only 5 or 6 companies that have the cash on hand to potentially do so, and they should have started yesterday. So it's I'm incredibly bullish for the future of programmable money. I think we're going to start to see this stuff be used as collateral. The economy for Bitcoin is going to continue to develop. People are going to be putting massive amount of time and energy into building that ecosystem and that sphere of influence. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see, Bitcoin go to 5 to 7 trillion in 2025 and MicroStrategy go to $1 trillion in 2025.
Awesome. Let me grab my phone. I need to smash buy some more MicroStrategy. I'll be right back.
ABB, always be buying.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jeff. This has been awesome. I guess FASB rolls out for MicroStrategy in May, and I think they have even a catch-up period there where they'll roll through all the earnings that they missed out on up to then. So, I just think that like the market's going to be like, pfft. I think you might think maybe it'll be a little bit, I don't know how it's going to go, but it's very exciting. Thank you so much for weighing in. Really appreciate it on Quant Corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for
Jeff.
having me.
So you've heard Bitcoin is the new gold rush by now. As world leaders on all sides have endorsed it as the future of money, and now you're looking to get started, we'll show you how. It's actually easier than you think. First, go to your nearest Byte Federal ATM and turn your cash to coin. Byte Federal has over 1,200 locations around the country with the highest daily limits. Go to our website, bytefederal.com, to find the nearest ATM to you. Log in to any wallet, then create an account, deposit your US cash, and instantly convert it to Bitcoin. That's it. We are the only US manufacturer and operator in the Bitcoin ATM industry, and our US-based live customer service is second to none. Go on, give it a whirl, and don't get left behind. Click the link below.